Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Saturday, June 9th, 2018. In both the Lynn life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the Search for Truth rules given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us, already living by those rules. And those rules include contributing more to completing the assignments given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us than any of us as individuals are taking or using or borrowing in Search for Truth resources. To contribute more to completing than we take from the process is a hallmark of the effort. What now? To do what it actually takes to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimension. And somebody's asking why we're focusing on that, and it's because that is one assignment that is consistently proven to be necessary in order to complete other assignments. For example, helpful in order to reestablish upward flow is evacuating the deeper, denser dimensions. Helpful to reestablishing working interdimensional relationships, it's helpful to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions. That action of evacuating the deeper, denser dimensions contributes to completing many of the other assignments, and therefore, when times are tough, it is a good idea for us to go back to that assignment. And somebody's asking why we said something about times being tough. I think what we're using as the definition of times being tough is when there's collapsed times at play, so much suffering in the depths, presences all around definitely needing things to be different, and in order for them to fulfill their own destinies and live their own soul plans. And up above, all we have are bickering and shoving and whose is bigger contests and pillar grabbing and body snatching of prize resources.
That's true.
It's just inappropriate and disturbing, and that's why we say times are tough. They're playing that Steely Dan song, Dirty Work.
Yes,
Times are hard. You're afraid to pay the fee, so you find yourself somebody who'll do the job for free. I'm a fool to do your dirty work. I don't want to do your dirty work no more. That song is playing. So somebody's feeling that way, and who they're feeling that way about is a different question, but someone is feeling that they have been doing somebody else's dirty work for far too long.
That's true.
And it feels true that they have actually been doing somebody else's dirty work for far too long.
The feeling upstairs is of, waiter, this conversation isn't very good.
We really would like it if you would turn this conversation in and go for another setup elsewhere, because what we want to know is what now to do what it actually takes to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions. And we know that we can pump up the dead, the refugee souls from the depths, up higher, 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 and we know that we can't go too far to the right in our definition of which way is up, or we meet those leering jailers who try to grab heroic souls who are trying to help the smaller presences and the dispossessed.
That's true.
And put these heroic souls in places where they can't do that work. They're trying to separate souls and bodies who have formed committed working partnerships, and that strikes us as wrong. So we're not going to aim to them, and if we aim too far to the left, we find presences who, I think that was what the conversation was about. I don't want to do your dirty work no more, quoting that song. It's not that we've forgotten our grammar. I don't want to do your dirty work anymore. You need to find someone else. I don't want to do it. It's not right. Maybe stop doing dirty work. Maybe consider no more dirty work. But in between those two, there are opportunities for finding up, and we can notice those kind of like red dots, the videographer's little cameras.
I see the red dots.
And we can aim for those. Here's some data from the depths and pump up the refugee families, intending to pump up the families intact. Friends, there's a real revolting wrong happening in North America right now at the border where Central America comes up into the United States. Thugs are intercepting families who are themselves fleeing troubles, big troubles, because it's bad enough that they're leaving their homes and their families and they're running away. And families are being torn apart at the border. Children are being warehoused in facilities, and U.S. senators are being turned away at the doors when they're showing up to investigate what's going on in those facilities.
That's true.
So let's consider, what might they be doing to the children in there that they don't want a senator to see it? Now we do similar work in that we work with immigrants, interdimensional immigrants, and while we're specifically trying to get the dead children out of the depths, we allow all who are traveling with somebody's asking why we're trying to get the dead children out.
Yeah, someone did ask that.
We think it's wrong for dead children who really want to get to the light and who were promised that they would have a short little life and then they would die and they could come back up and get into the front of the line of returning souls, and that way they could be with their friends again and come back in and everything would be fine. But we just need somebody to run this life for this little filler life. So who's a volunteer to go in for a short little bit of time, and it's going to be a nasty little life and you're going to die quickly, but then you'll be back in time to join your friends in the next adventure and you'll get some good karma.
Oh, that's the promise.
That's the promise, and they got a lot of souls in on that promise, and now they're refusing to let them back upstairs, and that strikes us as wrong and corrupt and shocking that we would be questioned about this being a good plan to specifically lift up those dead children who really want to get to the light and get them back up where they were promised they would be. However, they're afraid to travel alone, and we can see why.
I can.
And so we allow everyone who's traveling with the children to go up with them. It's kind of like at the airports when they're boarding the airplanes and they say, anybody traveling with small children, you can get on the plane first.
That's true.
That's why. Why do you ask? I think what we would call it is common decency.
Oh, that's true.
And friends, do you want to think about what it says about you if you're asking a question and the answer is common decency and you are the one questioning it? Do you want to think about what that says about you? Don't you want to?
I think that's a no.
But it is a clearing and a straightening, so we can send up these refugees from the depths to those red lights, the videographer lights, that are neither to the right where the leering jailers are, nor to the left where I think the realm of the despised is, sadly. True. And it's pretty heartbreaking to think of the realm of the despised reforming, but if it reforms, it reforms.
That's true.
As in forms again. It's interesting, reform. That word doesn't mean what you'd think it would mean.
No, it doesn't.
I think that word is kind of definitionally flawed.
That's true.
Fascinating. Why do you ask? Our attention is being brought to this song that we've had awareness of for 50-something years.
That's true.
Hey, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me banana, daylight come and me want to go home. Now, quite clearly, if daylight come and me want to go home, the singer is a banana plantation worker on the night shift, and he wants to go home. Daylight come, me want to go home. Come tally me banana. take count of what I have already harvested. The night is over. I'd like to go to bed now. I'm on the night shift and I'm tired.
That's right.
And for some reason that never processed, that we have for 50 years or however long we've been aware of that song, processed it as just some banana plantation worker working the day shift. We didn't think that there was a night shift, and he's just tired and he wants to go home, and we left out processing the part about daylight come.
That's right.
And how many things like that are we just ignoring, these little discrepancies where we think we have the picture of what's going on, but we're missing key details and we've got the wrong picture. Who's this message for? For whom is the message, and why do you ask? I think the point is how wrong we can be, and how wrong we can be for an extended period of time if we don't stop and investigate the little hitches, the little discrepancies that create a sensation of cognitive dissonance.
That's true.
Those sensations happen so frequently. This is one of the reasons that we are charged with the responsibility of guarding our sense gates, not too much interaction with this same dimension, because sadly this society seems to have let go of the idea that truthfulness matters.
That's true.
Or even that common decency matters. So we need to limit interactions with this dimension, or we become backlogged in our processing of moments of cognitive dissonance because they happen too fast to be processed. For whom is the message, and why do you ask? There is a sense of clearing and straightening and lengthening, and that body snatching, pushing and shoving, or pulling and grabbing and tugging seems to not be happening right now.
That's true.
It's like all those many presences arguing over the host life, or at least not doing it right now. Come, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me banana. Daylight come, let me want to go home. Whatever that message is about, it's important. And part of the message is how wrong we can be, missing a key factoid for a really long time. Why do you ask? Now we just pump up. We've got a big opening. Just pump up the dead children and those with whom they are traveling to those red lights. Does anything matter more than survival of the truth? Let's bifurcate. All of us who really know that nothing matters more than survival of the truth, to the search for truth's central axis, all others flung away. All of us who really know that nothing matters more than survival of the truth, to the search for truth's central axis, all others flung away. We don't need souls hanging around here who are still in doubt on that key point. We would refer you to Saul's book and Isis's book, and their whole team all worked on that, and they have accumulated something between 120,000 and 150,000 data points where inquiries were carried out to see if some certain item matters more than survival of the truth. And you can just scan the column. There's a yes column and a no column. And for at least 120,000 data points, there's not a single yes, something matters more than survival of the truth conclusion. All the conclusions are nothing matters more than survival of the truth, and that's a statistically significant sample.
That's true.
And I think that we can extrapolate to all of creation with that and safely say nothing matters more than survival of the truth. And so if presences are not willing to agree with that basic point, then this isn't the right place, and we invite them to find a place where it's a better fit. All of us who really know that nothing matters more than survival of the truth, to the search for truth's central axis, all others flung away. And now let's once more reinstall the soul plans to create worlds that work in all dimensions and for all categories of sentience inside of those dimensions, no matter what anyone else does or doesn't do, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. And when these experiences of sentience end, as is inevitable, that is what we will be asked about, and we're aware of that, and we don't intend to divert ourselves with lesser goals. We don't intend to waste our lives. We actually intend to do what we said we would do.
That's true.
Why do you ask?